Okay, so for today, I'm going to make trees, basically, because I was doing a couple of them on Twitter, and people had asked me for a tutorial. If you need to, you can look at my Twitter feed. It's at the Tyromancer. Basically, I'm making the equivalent of redwoods or Sitka spruce. It's what I'm pretty used to because I vacation up in the Humboldt Bay area, and that's common either on the coastal side or up in the little bit of the inlands. So Sitka spruce is common to right on the coast. They thrive in salt saltwater areas where the fog has a lot of salt content. Redwoods don't like it so much, so they're a little bit inland. So to start off with, what I do first is I have these little discs, and I get these at any hobby store, really. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, possibly even Walmart. They come in packs, various sizes. So I then take a rod of plastic and I hot glue it to it. Then I take one of these and I stick it in the end and hot glue that in. So now we have, can't move the camera, but a full height of what the tree will be. To compare, here is what the average Ardboy would be. And you can see he's going to be quite small comparatively, and that's the idea. A lot of times in more games, the trees aren't all that much bigger than the people, and it kind of always annoys me. So I figured for the display board, I want it to be like full-grown redwood or Sitka spruce style stuff. So what these strands are, pardon the mess, I was cutting moss earlier, but are going to be the basis for the branches. You start off by making a little dot, and then from the dot, I usually use my scalpel to hold it down and then drag out the amount here. You can see in the corner here, this is my original 3doodler. They've now become a lot smaller. You'll notice the red light's on, which means it's not ready to go. I had plugged it in a while ago, and it overheats a lot because I'm using ABS. I'm out of PLA, and ABS is much stinkier. I don't know if it actually has fumes or not. According to the website, there's no fumes, but it does smell like there are. Also, hot glue. It's going to be ever present, and you'll use a lot. So the finished look will look something like this. It's going to be the base. It's like that. These are rocks, and the branches and such. And then we'll add leaves and all that later. It's probably a good 2.5 feet tall, which is ideal for what I'm trying to do. I've already gotten this one started. I've taken 2 bits of cement. Cement's a great resource for like texture and stuff like that because you have both the smooth and the jagged part. And then I've covered the entire thing in hot glue so that the hot glue has something better to stick to than just the regular plastic. You'll notice here that it kind of tilted. That's because of when the hot glue is applied to the ABS, sometimes it does tend to move it around. So just be aware of that. Trees aren't necessarily perfectly upright. So any imperfections are fine. This entire process should probably be a bit random to begin with. So for this one here, I'm just going to take a couple of rocks for weight or ballast, and then you just glue them on. What you can do if you want the rocks to show through is you could just make a root structure over the top, and that will provide like what becomes like octopus trees, which are trees that grow on top of other fallen trees, and when that fallen tree rots away, the root structure is still the same, so you have like these hollows. So the same thing applies to rocks. The trees will grow and then they'll move around the rocks. And so all you have to do for this is just apply hot glue, and yeah, so I'll do that and we'll be back. Okay, so hot glue is applied. I just basically made sure it connected. That's actually a bad area there, but they're connected to each other. It's still a bit hot, which doesn't burn, but you know, just be aware if you're sensitive to heat on your hands. But yeah, so with the rocks, the glue is going to basically solidify almost right away because it'll dissipate the heat really fast. And now that you have that, we can go in. You can fill it in if you want. I can do that later. With the previous taller tree, I left the interior hollow, and I'll show you how to do that. But I have the blue light on, so that means we're ready to go with the 3doodler there. So for the basic branch, I'm gonna do, this is fast and this is slow. I've only ever used fast, so and like that. So the reason I hold it like this is that it has a tendency just to spiral out and there's not a lot of control. So having an anchor point is fantastic. So another cool thing about this is that you can basically weld them together using the ABS. And it dries relatively quickly, or should I say solidifies. And what you want to make sure to do is, even though you're using the fast setting, you're going to go slow across. So let me make another dot. And then that circle motion is getting rid of like the little strands you see here. So once you have it solidified, if you see it like, oh, for some reason it's working real fast today. If you see it starting to break apart or come thin like this section here on this one, just go back over it. That's what I did with this weld here. So basically just keep doing that over and over. It's really fast today, so maybe I should use the slow. Okay. ABS operates at a higher temperature than PLA and it kind of expands a little bit as it comes out. Not only that, it's a lot more brittle, so you can just, I mean, it can bend, but as it gets older, it'll snap into like that. So, that being said, we wanted to bring it back together. That looks really janky. Anyway, so you'll often notice it goes from blue to red. Sometimes it just has to catch up with itself. So I drag it along the wood here just because it's easier to make sure it's straight. You're going to want, I don't know, a good amount of strands just to make your tree limbs. Eventually, so we'll keep it with this. We'll use a smaller tree as our base. So for each of these, we're going to have an accompanying size. So for this one, we're going to do the same thing. And if you want, you can do 3 of them, 4 of them. It depends on how strong you want your limbs to be. And it overheated. Now it's back. Okay. So we're going to take these 3 and we're going to bring them together. So you can do that by either using this the same way you're going to bring two together, or as far as like if you're trying to keep the stem together, or you can just use a hot glue real quick, which will give you a little bit more working time. So careful where you put this, the tip is very hot. So then we're going to join this together. Now what you can do if you wanted to, once you had the two, you could probably draw directly in the air. So for this, I haven't put the hot glue around the base, so I'll do that in the area I'm going to stick that to first. So just, I use the side of the tip to spread it out because it's also hot, and there's no reason not to do it because it doesn't affect anything. Unless you want it to be clean for whatever reason. So that'll solidify pretty quickly. And then glob it on. And we're going to have these stick at an upward angle. If I wanted to, I can throw in that third while it's still wet or liquid. And then probably making it more difficult than I need it to be. Basically just want it to go like that. You need some kind of structure to make it be able to hold everything you're trying to do. So those should not have stuck together. That's fine. If you ever need to, you can just pull them apart, re-glue it. The heat will reactivate the glue. But this is probably good. So we'll just, again, remember trees aren't symmetrical, they aren't perfect. So make sure it dries at an upward angle for the most part. And once it's there, I'll do the structure of the limb itself. So putting it in the fan. And we'll be back once it's set. Alright, I figure while that's drying, we're going to go on and we're going to do another method to it. So, draw another line here. What we're going to do now is we're going to just create that triangle right now with okay. So with that here, on the same part of the tree, what we're going to do is we're going to create a latticing back and forth. This is fairly welded to the wood at the moment. I haven't picked it off. And we'd be doing that freeform on the tree. This probably is a better way now that I'm thinking about it. Just because now it'll let you create all your limbs first, and then you can space them out as needed and not have to worry about the hot glue that's already on the tree, the hot glue that's on the limbs. So and it overheated. Back. Okay. So now creating the same size, we're going to do the one that's going to be upright. So set for a second. So it's still a little bit warm. It's not going to be that warm to where it should scald you or anything, but just be aware. And it's okay if it's a bit bunched because that'll have stuff sprouting out of it. So and voila, now it's 3D. I mean, it's not pretty, but that doesn't matter. So, be careful of your hand. Overheated. Okay, and there you go. So, to make it look like a limb, we would cover it in hot glue. So, make sure that we're all set. Actually has a bit of, you know, heft to it, or a heft, but structure to it, since we put the latticing in. And all we're going to do now is you would fill it in like this. On my original one, I used paper mache. I kind of feel like now that I wasted a lot of time doing that. I can do several layers of this. If you want to use paper mache, it'll probably give it the better look of like circular nature, so I might go back and do that. But doing this also will provide that strength because it's all connecting together and it'll all solidify. So, one more. So, it'll need to cool. But yeah, hot glue is a great tool. You can make it look really bubbly or whatever you want to do. You don't necessarily have to do it as a bead. You can do what I'm doing, just rub it out onto the surface so it creates like a texture, which is how I'm going to get the bark done for the most part on the tree. So I'll be back once we have all that set. Actually, we're going to be back here real quick. I just realized I skipped a step that we could do to get this to look more round without actually having to use paper mache or paper towel or whatever you want to use. So I'm going to draw 3 more lines. Got caught on my hand. Okay. What we're going to do then is basically we're going to create in the same length and we're going to attach them between each of these platforms. So we're going to bring them out a little bit more so that it's kind of, it adds a circular element, and then we're going to put the latticing in and it'll play out. I'll show you. Obviously it's a video, so overheated. Okay, so this part's going to be a little bit weird visually, I think, trying to show. So we want it to be just raised from where that would be. Just add a little bit of the latticing for now. One side. So now on that side, so yeah, kind of made it more round. Just repeat the process over and over again, and you should have more of a limb-like structure. So, okay, so pretty much done. Just chip away all the extra crap. So that'll be a limb, and then you coat it in hot glue. Might do a couple thin layers of hot glue just to maximize your usage of the hot glue, plus making sure everything's filled in, because you don't want any holes, really. You can have stuff extra, but holes would be kind of weird in how the tree's supposed to be. It's not like an oak or anything like that. So I'll be back once I finish the one that's attached to the tree. So got that set. There's a definitive shape to it. So now what we can do next is either build out more structures from there with like these, or you can just freeform it, like just tease it out, hold it, let it solidify. If you touch the tip of the 3doodler or the hot glue gun to these things, it'll get rid of the extra stuff like that. Bring that together. And now you have an extra branch. And just keep doing that until you feel like you're set. Don't forget to make sure it's sticking together. It is turning purple because I had to put a new stick in. So I'll come back once that is all set. So this is where I've ended up. So had a couple extra strands here, so I just kind of teased them out as well. You'll notice all the extra spindly bits. So once you have like that, someone dubbed it the Zinch tree effect. You can just stick one in and pull out, and now you're getting into little branches. But it's basically, you're gonna attach, pull out, hold so it stays, and then yank, and that'll get rid of the little tussle for the most part. And you just keep doing that until you feel like you have a tree. And if you do something like that, that's fine. You can just play with that. So, and you keep doing that until you feel like you should stop. You feel like that looks like a tree. You feel like it doesn't look like a tree. It's up to you to choose. Remember, the idea of a limb is for it to find light. So you're gonna there's not gonna be too many limbs growing from the inside, because there's gonna be stuff blocking it from above. So just keep going through, and yeah. So if you want to not put it that much on, you could be a dead tree. Definitely, it's easy to do that. Just don't put the leaves on it, and you can just put like little stubs out, like, stop it. And that'll exist as it is. And that could be something that broke off. It could be a new limb that was started. It's just up to you how you want to have the tree look. So we'll be back once I have everything attached. Okay, so that limb is done. So really, it kind of looks like a standard, like non-evergreen, I can't think of the words right now. Sorry. At any rate, so from top down, then you cover all of this in glue, and we'll come back once I've done that. So all of the glue pretty much has been applied. There are some areas where I need to get in there and smooth it over, but that'll be a good first layer. In total, all of this has taken about maybe 1.5 glue sticks, and 1.5, maybe one full ABS stick. So it's pretty rigid now. It doesn't move a lot. So one further thing that I'll do here is show how I bulked out the tree beyond this one. This one might have been a bit preemptive. I don't think I'll need to use all of the glue down to the root structure. So getting another ABS stick. This one will be silver. I only have a couple left, so I might have to go back to Michael's and get more. So from here, you need to figure out where along the top do you want it to come down, and where on the bottom of the roots or the base of the tree trunk do you want it to come up. So once it's done being overheated, we'll go from there. So I will be back once we're ready. So I just applied that on there just to give it an area where we need to come down from. So this will be our demarcation point to where it gets wider. So starting from where this is, I'm going to attach that there. And we're drawing a line around, as this will be our anchor point. I can't reach those together. Okay. That's messy, but eh. So, unlike drawing down here, which you can definitely do, I'm just going to freeform it. And here's the issue: when you freeform, you can run out. So it's a bit wider than I want it to be, so we'll just bring it in here. Much like the limbs, what you can do is then attach little marks like that, and that'll stay in place. So just do that around the entirety of the tree. Get this down real quick. And that'll stay for the most part. So just going to keep drawing lines, much also like the tree. Once you've got the set ones done, lattice them up, then draw another line down and attach those to the previous lattice. So we'll be back once I finish. Just to show where we are, here's the first set of latticing done. It's okay. It's not strong by any means, but if you're really just trying to push it out from the base of the plastic there. And here we are. So it went a bit wider than I'd like it to be, but that's fine. What I might want to do now, since it is so wide, so I don't waste so much material, is do paper mache, just because it will encompass all of it, and then I can go back over it with hot glue and bulk out areas. You can see on this how it has those holes, but also you can have it to where you can add bumps and ridges to it, like here. That'll break up the structure that you've already built here and make it look more lifelike. So that's the gist of it. So I will, you probably could see it on my posts on Twitter, but if there's more people who want more of it, I can definitely take it from finished product to paint if that's what people want. So just let me know. Thanks.